Well, we'll see. It's time for Talking Pints, my favourite time of the night. Ryan Howsam is a Yorkshire entrepreneur. Welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we're going to learn, Ryan, about various ups and downs of your life.
Quite a few downs.
And maybe we can learn some lessons from it. So, you're a council house boy from Sheffield. You don't like school very much.
Well, I got thrown out of A-levels, so it wasn't that bad.
You got kicked. Well, you got as far as A-levels.
Yeah, well, I wanted to be a golfer, and you know,
You wanted to be a golfer at that age?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't quite good enough, but that would have been the big dream. Yeah.
That would have been the big dream. And in the end, you decide to become a door-to-door salesman.
Yeah, well, I started knocking on doors, selling. Well, it was actually opening leads for salesmen to go in and sell, and then I'd go out and started closing, glazing, and that was my start into sales. And then I learned everything from the like of Tom Hopkins and Zig Ziglar and all that type of stuff.
So door-to-door.
Yeah, the hard way. I was brought up
double
the hard way.
glazing, and yet, within a few years, you're making quite a lot of money.
I made a lot of money and lost a lot of money, yeah.
What makes a good salesman?
The ability to listen, question, isolate, answer, confirm, close. That was what the mantra was as a kid.
Yeah. I know the mantra, but what makes a good salesman?
Yeah,
what is that quality?
I think the ability to understand what the customer wants and then to guide them and let them think that they've made the decision to buy.
So you're not selling them stuff that they don't really need?
Well, I did at that point, yeah.
Well, that's at least honest.
Yeah.
But you decide that you want to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as I saw, that I could make money from the type of background that I was in, golf became a thing of the past, and I just focused on, trying to make some cash.
Did you feel from your background that it was harder for you in the world of business, or not?
Not at all. But I didn't really know anything about business. I just learned as much as I could about sales. But when I started my first business, I really understood that. Well, quite quickly, there was a lot I didn't understand. Money, for example. I mean, most entrepreneurs don't really understand a great deal about money when they start off.
So they understand about the product they want to sell?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
And this was you had some success, but your undoing, as it were, which came a few years later. What actually happened?
At that time, I had a business that was selling to, it was hotel rooms, it was hotel broking, and I'd got millions quite a lot of customers abroad, and I'd not hedged the currency. So I couldn't really afford to hedge the currency. I think the euro, when it was 148, when I bought the product, there's about a 20% margin in it. And then the pound went to 128, and I thought I'll hold on to it, and it went 1 to 1, and that was it.
That was it? You were done?
That was it, 38, and not a pot to piss in.
Excuse the language, we're up before the watershed, but it's all right. So the whole lot gone?
The whole lot gone, yeah.
And what do? You've worked hard, you've been out of school 20 years, you've tried all sorts of things, you've had some success, you've made some money, you've clearly got a bit of flair, and it's all gone wrong. How do you, it's Frank Sinatra, isn't it? Riding high in April, shot down in May. And this is why it's interesting to get people like you on Talking Pints, because how do you recover from that psychologically?
Well, I think the first thing is just never give in. I just didn't have an attitude that, I'm done. At that point, I put my daughter in private school. I moved to Spain. I rented an apartment on the beach, and I basically started a couple of different businesses. Managed to get a little bit of money in from somebody that I knew, and I just got going again, and that was it.
So you believed in your ability to do it again?
I did, but I think one of the big things that I think entrepreneurs get wrong is their ability to focus. And I think that was my Achilles heel. I might have a million ideas a minute, but trying to stay focused on that one thing, that was the hardest thing for me.
Interesting. That is interesting. Actually, one or two entrepreneurs that I know that have been very, very successful, the word focused.
Yeah.
It's interesting. That's a word that does come up. So you're bouncing back, and in the end you decide that it's going to be travel insurance. Why?
Yeah, well, I sort of fell into it. So I formed a 2-for-1 golf business, which it's like half-price golf. So and that was the starting point where I thought, why not do something that I really like? So I got into golf. And then JJB Sport asked me if I could do golf insurance. I thought, well, I'll find a way. So I I then found a way of getting golf insurance, created a little bit of technology, and then I turned the golf insurance into travel insurance and just started selling.
Can anyone get into insurance?
Yeah. Well, actually, no. I mean, I mean, it's hard now, you know, with the regulatory
You've got to
status.
pass exams and do all sorts of things, yeah.
Well, not from an insurance perspective, not if you're owning the business, but I mean with the FCA and all those types of things and the regulatory capital that you've got to have. And I, you know, dodged a few bullets in the early days and got umbrellaed by another company, and that's how I got going.
And Staysure, you know, you're now one of the leading travel insurance firms.
Well, the leading travel insurance.
The leading,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah,
I opened the door for him there, didn't I?
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
So you've reached the top of that.
Yeah.
And is that about price competitive? Is it about having a good website? What is it? What's the key thing that makes that work?
Well, I think the key thing with any business is that you've got to own a space. So a lot of people, when they look at a business, they don't really know where they're going with it. And for me, it was going after the over 50s market, and then people with medical conditions, and that was a real focus. Yeah. And we were the first to take medical conditions with travel insurance, put it front and centre of the proposition, and sell it to the consumer that way.
Because so many people I've heard over the years want to go to America,
yeah,
you know, to visit a long lost relative or whatever it is, but because of a medical condition they've got.
Yeah.
Now, if your medical condition means it's inadvisable to fly, that's a separate issue. But people perhaps, let's say somebody with a form of cancer,
yeah,
and in the past, America's been impossible for them because they couldn't get travel insurance of any kind at all. How much better is that now?
Well, it's way better, and you know we led that. But at the time I started this, nobody really knew how to underwrite medical conditions, and me included. So going through a journey to understand that was quite a difficult process. And, you know, you've got to be able to make it work for the underwriter as well as make a margin.
It's got to work for both. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. And now PetSure.
Yeah.
I mean, pets are so. Everyone bought dogs, puppies during lockdown.
Yeah.
They're now realising it's quite an expensive hobby. Again, very expensive, isn't it? Pet insurance.
It is expensive, and that's an example of being able to manoeuvre in COVID. You can imagine being in a travel insurance business.
Must have been hard as hell.
Yeah, hard as hell. But you know, I heard people, some so-called travel insurance professionals, saying that there was going to be no travel insurance sales in the middle of COVID. And, you know, we found a way. I mean, I think we did nearly 100 million of turnover right in the middle of COVID. But I didn't want to be there again if it happened. And so PetSure, we took the medical conditions, put them front and centre of the proposition, and there's a big gaping hole in that market.
Interesting. You see, gap in the market. This is what you're all about. Now, you've managed, Ryan, to combine business with pleasure. I wonder whether you've done it for really good commercial reasons. Because you are very much involved with the Seniors Golf Tour. You're one of the main sponsors of the tour, or the main sponsor. And this is, just for those that don't understand what the Seniors Golf Tour is, just give us a quick run.
Well, if you can imagine the likes of an Ian Woosnam or a Michael Campbell or a Nick Faldo, these are the players, the greats that you and I know you're a golfer, grew up watching. So it was those. And I actually started to sponsor the tour, and that was with Staysure. And then I became an owner in it, so now I'm a joint owner with the tour. So I basically took sponsorship money, or what I was spending, turned it into ownership, and now we've rebranded that to the Legends Tour. And it's a different proposition, but it's bringing the greats to the front and centre of the consumer.
When a company uses its money, to advertise, to sponsor, is it doing it because the boss likes that sport, or is it doing it for commercial reasons? Well,
it might be. You know, there are lots of football owners, that own clubs that do that. But no, for me, I love it, but I wanted to make sure that I did something that actually made sense. You know, so ultimately, I did it because I thought, owning a sporting franchise is quite powerful. So, that's what I did.
Well, it is powerful. Now the Saudi Arabians are coming in.
Exactly.
Golf,
there's loads of cash. It was quite good timing.
I mean, you might get bought out for some ridiculous sum of money.
Well, we'll see.
They haven't quite got to the seniors yet. And you've also, Ryan, had your own health battles. Yeah,
I had lymphoma 2014, which, for anybody that's been through something like that, they'll know it can be a little bit tough. First day it was like a rabbit caught in the headlights, but after that, you just get on with it.
Yeah, I think the diagnosis is almost the worst bit, isn't it, really?
The first day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had it. I had a form of cancer myself.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
many years ago. And yeah, the initial shock is horrible. But then, as you say, it's head down, get on with it, and hope for the best. And I'm fascinated by this posthumous TV program, Victor Lewis Smith.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. It's really interesting.
Well, I was talking to Victor with another friend, and we'd looked at these TV programs that had been, they're out like Dragon's Den and Apprentice, and
Yep.
I liked them, but Victor hated them. And if you know about Victor, he's quite an outspoken, or he was an outspoken
died
guy
recently.
Yeah, very sad. But we just thought that there would be a good program to see what actually happens with the business. Like the end-to-end of the business from the start, and the problems that they have and how they face them, how they get over them. No, it was really exciting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
And the programme's going to come out later on this month, later on this week.
This week.
Yeah, good.
Thursday night.
Well, I have to say, Ryan, one thing about you, you're very good at bouncing back from adversity, which makes you a great guest on Talking Pints.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you.